All right, so if you watched another one of my videos, you saw that I have an opinion or a thought process on the Business Development Center. And I'm going to tell any salespeople out there, don't get it twisted, because the BDC does work better than the alternative. But I will tell you this, that I also do believe that it has created a behavior habit onto the sales floor, and it is affecting the salespeople. I've witnessed general managers and dealer principals and sales managers start to get upset at salespeople for not being more active, for not working during their day. Well, you know, and spending too much time playing on the computer and playing solitaire, playing games, horsing around on Facebook, doing other things that they should be doing other than work. You know, they're not calling their circle of business, they're not networking, they're not doing some of that stuff. Problem is, your Business Development Center has, in their mind, taking work away from them. So now we've almost invited them to be more lazy. Certainly doesn't excuse it, and by all means, salespeople, if you're being lazy, it's your own fault. It's not the dealership's fault. It's just a behavior habit that's been created. However, there are outlets that exist today that work better and are better opportunities for you than crying about the fact that the Business Development Center is taking away work for you. Okay? And that is social media. Social media has created so much opportunity for salespeople to grow their circle of influence and create a tremendous amount of exposure that if you're not using it, you're just being naive. Okay? And I'm sorry to say that, forgive me for being brutally honest, but you're being ignorant. Because if it allows you to get more exposure, and by not using it, you're not maximizing your opportunity to grow your circle of influence. And if your circle of influence is the people that give you loyalty, all right, referrals, more customers, and it creates that residual income for you, and it doesn't create more than an hour's worth of work a day, then guess what? You're costing yourself money, and you're just being lazy. So if that's not ignorant, I don't know what is. But I'll give you an example. I'll give you some ideas on how to really maximize on one of the greatest social media outlets out there, Facebook. A lot of people may argue that Facebook is a fad, all right, that it's a trend, that give it a few years and people won't even be thinking about it. Maybe that's true. Okay, maybe Mark Zuckerberg was lucky and fell into something and gained a lot of money, but let's face it, the guy has made a lot of millionaires out there from Facebook and from other stuff he's bought and been involved in. He's made a lot of people a lot of money. And the other thing is, Facebook has created a new way of thinking for consumers online. It has forced them to connect differently. And because Facebook exists and created this conversation and this ability for people to share things, it has opened up so many more outlets that probably wouldn't exist today if Facebook wasn't there. So the reality is Facebook is a trend that isn't going anywhere. And what Facebook has created is a new way of doing things online. All right, so pay attention to it. And there are ways that you can use Facebook for your everyday activities that will maximize your exposure. And I'll give you a few ideas. Before I jump into that, I do have to say this. You have to make a decision on how you want to use Facebook. If you want to use it to put jokes out there, to use swear words, to kind of get your friends to laugh and make a comment, fine. Okay, that's fine. But if you're trying to use it to grow your circle of influence and really help you define your career and grow your residual income, you got to knock that stuff off. Because having a customer kind of see you horse around really takes away the professionalism of it. If you have to, open up 2 different Facebook pages. If you want to horse around and do that stuff, fine. But Facebook is great because it allows people to see their interest. And if you want customers and your group of people and your circle of influence to really see your interest and see your conversation and see what you're all about, they can't see that side of it. So, to give you an idea, let's just imagine that you work with 10 people that are pretty close with you at work. And the average Facebook person has 300 friends on Facebook. Okay? So there's an average, you got 10 people times 300, you got 3,000, right? Now you got a customer, and you ask that customer if they'll be friends with you on Facebook. Why wouldn't they be, right? Because you've done the whole process the right way, and if you've done the process that way and you've created this wow factor, they've got no reason but to say, yes, I want to be your friend. And if they're on, chances are they're on Facebook. And if they're on Facebook and you take a picture of them in their brand new vehicle, okay, well, guess what? Let's just say, you know, we've talked about the Sonata, so let's talk about the Sonata. The Hyundai Sonata has its own Facebook page. Hyundai has its own Facebook page. Collectively, I think Hyundai has over 1 million followers on their Facebook page. The Sonata, don't know how many it is, but I'm going to guess maybe 500,000. Now you put in your post, okay, not only do you take a picture of the customer that just bought their Sonata, you tag your customer in that picture and the 10 people you work with, all right? So now on average, that just hit 3,300 people, because when you tag someone in an image, it goes on their wall. And now 3,300 people have been exposed to seeing you with your customer, the car that they bought in the dealership that they work for. Now, if you use the @mention feature in your post, which basically is you hit that little @ symbol, all right, then you type in whatever word it is, and Hyundai Sonata, it will post on Hyundai's wall as well as Hyundai Sonata's wall. Okay, so now you just made exposure to, let's say, 1.5 million people. Okay, doesn't that make sense? Now, it's kind of like a jingle, right? You don't memorize a jingle, and a jingle doesn't get stuck in your head unless you hear it over and over and over and over and over again. If you do this one time, it's not going to get any attention. If you do it over and over and over and over again, let's face it, Facebook, the more people you know, you grow your circle of influence. The more people your friends know, the more your circle of influence grows. The more people that buy Sonatas, the more your circle of influence grows. The more people that buy Hyundais, the bigger your circle of influence goes. Hyundai's even involved in something called Hyundai Hope on Wheels, right? So guess what? If they're part of an organization, like for instance, Hope on Wheels, you buy a Hyundai, Hyundai and that dealership donate a certain amount of money to Hyundai Hope on Wheels, which fights children pediatric cancer research. You tag in your post, great news. By my customer buying this vehicle, they also donated to Hyundai Hope on Wheels. Now it just posted on their wall. So if you get creative enough, you can create a massive amount of exposure, and if you do it consistently enough, it will really reach out to a lot of people. Now, here's the other thing. You can do all that stuff, and that's fantastic. But all of that stuff is for nothing if people aren't paying attention to what you're posting. And I can tell you this, if all you do is post stuff on your cars and your customers, it will become so boring that people aren't going to pay attention to it anymore. Now, if on your wall, when you're making comments, and you do things that interest you and are inspiring and motivational and actually invite conversation, all right, so basically what I mean is you post something on your wall and it forces people to want to comment or want to click that like button. That means every time you post something, people are going to, all right, so what's so-and-so saying today? Okay, so it gets people to pay attention to your post. So have a value-driven message, probably about 3 a day that you can post on Facebook. Okay, have at least one message a day that invites a lot of comments. Maybe it is a movie quote that you can remember. Anybody guess this movie quote? Get people to write down a ton of them. Okay, that's how you engage Facebook. And if you do it the right way and you do it consistently enough, you will grow your circle of influence, and it'll give you something to do where you don't have to worry about the fact that the BDC is upstairs or wherever they might be in their dealership making appointments for you, doing some of your work, feeding customers for you, okay, because that's what they do. They set the appointments come in, you take care of them, but you don't have to be sitting on your desk waiting for the phone call to ring to fight for your next guy. You can be waiting for the customers to walk in, and while you're doing that, you could be growing your circle of influence. It is a great outlet for you to improve your network. So take advantage of it. It exists to help you, okay? If you have any comments, questions, concerns, opinions, please leave them below, and I'll be glad to get back with you soon. Thank you.